All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. So I wanted to make a video about another bodybuilder who has kind of been swept under the rug and forgotten about. Now, the reason being is primarily because this guy went and competed for Vince McMahon's now defunct WBF bodybuilding organization. Back in the day, in the 90s, Vince McMahon was trying to rival the IFBB, and he's kind of trying to rival Joe Weider and what Joe Weider had achieved with the success that the IFBB was having. So kind of like Gary Stridham, Eddie Robinson, this is the bodybuilder I'm talking about, Eddie Robinson. He went over to the WBF and competed there, and was kind of forgotten about in terms of bodybuilding history because, as we know, if you piss off the Weeders and you piss off the IFBB, it's not looked kindly upon in the future, and you're kind of excommunicated. So I think this is kind of what happened to Eddie Robinson. So this guy was actually a great bodybuilder. He was another guy who was like a super athlete. He was into boxing. He was into football. He was also a professional arm wrestler. His best bench press at 220 pounds body weight was 575 pounds, and then he would go on to bench press 610 pounds at 220 pounds body weight as well. So he set 2 bench press records. So far, he's at 3 sports: football, boxing, powerlifting, and apparently he's excelled at all 3. Now he's a pro bodybuilder. So he was a pro bodybuilder for 12 years, and he retired in 2001. So he was on a bunch of magazine covers. He was mostly famous for a lot of those photo shoots because he wasn't really a high placer in the IFBB, and he wasn't really that high of a placer in the WBF as well. So he was kind of just known for being seen in the magazines a lot. So I'll go through a little bit of his competition history here. He did a lot of amateur shows in the early 80s, so he was a very active competitor when he first got into the game. He's a local guy, again, from near me, right by Kentucky. He's from Akron, Ohio. So again, another guy that lives right around me. He's won the Mr. USA's in 1989. So again, like a lot of the bodybuilders I show you guys, these Mr. USA, Mr. Universe, Mr. America winners are all guys that tend to go down in history as having some of the greatest physiques of all time. And a lot of times, these guys that have won these smaller titles, but still significant titles, get forgotten about. Pretty much if you haven't won the Olympia, but you've won some of these smaller titles, a lot of people don't remember you. So I wanted to kind of shine some light on this guy. So his best Olympia placing, I'm looking at his list of Olympia competitions here. It looks like he only competed in 1 Olympia during his career, and that was the 1990 Mr. Olympia, and he placed 10th. So after 1990, that's when he went to the WBF, Vince McMahon's organization. So his first show was the 1991 WBF Championships, where he placed 4th. And then in 1992, he went to the WBF again and did their championships and placed 6th. And apparently that was a drug-tested show. That's what it's saying in the description here. So I don't know if Vince McMahon tried to initiate some kind of drug testing protocol that year, but that's what it's looking like in the description. And then he went back to the IFBB, did the Night of Champions in 1995, did a bunch of smaller shows, did the Arnold Classic in 1997 and placed 7th. Then he would eventually go on to retire, like I said, in 2001. But in a lot of these shots, man, you can tell this guy had a crazy physique. He was a great bodybuilder. Like I said, he was a boxer, a football player, a power lifter, a pro arm wrestler, competed as a pro bodybuilder in 2 different federations. So I definitely think this is an interesting guy in the history of bodybuilding, in the history of great physiques, in the history of strength athletes. These guys that are, cross-talented, multidisciplined athletes, I think these are the most important guys to make videos about, because there are so many bodybuilders out there that just do bodybuilding, and yes, they may do very well by doing that. They may win the Olympia, they may win the Arnold, and they may spend all their time bodybuilding. But I think these guys that played different sports and excelled in powerlifting and excelled in strongman and did arm wrestling and all this other crazy stuff, I think these are the more impressive athletes. The fact that they were able to maintain a really good bodybuilding physique and still be very athletic, I think that's a very impressive feat. So I think these guys deserve some recognition. So please give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Nick Strength and Power, signing out.